I'm DJ Lady Jock from Music My Way.
All right. Hey there.
Hey, hey, hey.
And I'm G.Wiz from Traveling at the Speed of Sound.
Okay.
And we're both in St. Louis radio, independent radio, KDHX 88.1. Which
Connection to
means,
St. Louis. Yeah.
yeah, which good.
I think you told me that your son. I think you told me that. Somebody told me that in the email.
Yeah, my father. My
Mm.
father and his other children, my stepbrothers and sisters, they're all from St. Louis. In fact, they all live, well, my father's deceased, but he knew Bethlehem Baptist Church. He was the minister there for forever, especially back in the day when we were growing up. And we came to St. Louis to visit his church and his funeral and everything. So yeah,
Oh,
I have
wow.
sisters and half sisters and brothers there in St. Louis.
Still today? They
Still
still?
today.
Wow.
They're all there.
I'm surprised they ain't left.
Well, a couple of them did, and they're here in Georgia. A couple of the guys, they're here in Georgia because I just reunited with a lot of them because we really didn't know them. My mom and dad's union produced the three of us, Brenda, Valerie, and myself. But my mother and father divorced at when I was 3 or 4. So other than some visits, for holidays, up until I was 16, we didn't know my father. And then he passed away when I was like 22 or 23. So that's that story. Yeah.
Wow.
Reverend
Yeah.
P.W. Jones.
PWJ. They call him PJ.
Well, that's PJ. Yeah, PJ, Valerie did name PJ after my father.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, PJ is named after his granddad.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna let start this off. We're gonna go back and forth with you because what we do is we interview people, great artists like you, and I chop it up and edit it for our radio shows. Our shows are one right behind each other. So we split the interview into 2 parts to make the listeners keep listening. So that's what we're going to do. So we both going to be coming at you left and right. So long as you can throw a hook, bob and weave. You from Detroit, you will be good.
Hey, I know all about it. Bobbing and weaving is my name.
Right. We're going to start out like this. Ms. Jones, so tell us about the city you were born in, which you kind of mentioned it a little bit.
Yeah, the D, Motown, Motor City. Hey, there's no place like home. I love Detroit. And I love being from Detroit, love growing up in Detroit. And that's my forever home. I've been here in Atlanta for over 30 years, but Detroit is home. I always say home, have fabulous friends and relatives there, and get back there as much as I can. Love Detroit.
So do you go back and visit often?
Oh yeah. Especially my girlfriends. We have girlfriends that Brenda, Valerie, and I grew up with that, are like part of the family. Couple of them, several of them, my god sister, they were all on the Unsung episode, because that's family to me, and they're the ones that have been with us from the very beginning. They're the ones that are with me now. Every time I perform somewhere, I try to take 1 or 2 of them along with me, because that keeps me grounded. It keeps me being around people that I grew up with that truly know us, the Jones girls, is, that's family. So I'm always in Detroit or with somebody from Detroit. Yes.
All right, Miss Shirley. So how did you when did you get into singing? How do you get into singing?
Well, my mom, Mary Frazier Jones, was a very popular gospel singer back in Detroit back in the day. In fact, she performed with people like Della Reese. Maddie Moss Clark was one of her keyboard players. She was the first Black gospel singer to sign with RCA Records. They signed my mother to the gospel side of RCA the exact same day they signed Little Richard. So that was my introduction to singing. Once she discovered that I could sing at about 6, 7 years old, she started having me learn a song, and I was out there with her, and I get up there and do a song, Yes, Jesus Loves Me, you know, in her shows. And then once Brenda came along, then it was my mother and Brenda and I would do a song called Just the Two of Us in her shows. Then she discovered Valerie could sing, and it took a couple of more years for Valerie, because Valerie was always the quiet one, very bashful. And then once she found out that it was the three of us, she was also music director at our choir Forever and a Day at Russell Street Baptist Church. So she knew voices, and she knew how to train voices and to train harmonies. And that's what she did with us. She trained our voices, trained our harmonies, taught us how to harmonize, taught us how, me in particular, how to pull back some, because being the high note, sometimes you have to pull back in order to blend, to have that silky harmony that we're known for. In fact, she used to always say, your harmony should be so tight that you can't cut it with a knife. You cannot cut it with a knife. That's how, and she would rehearse us and practice with that. She said a butter knife, you know, because a butter knife is a little thicker than a steak knife. She said, so we've got to make sure. And when we would be rehearsing, we loved her saying, there you go, you can't cut that harmony. That is so tight, girls. That's excellent. She was always she never was demanding, but she would just say, listen, Shirley, you pull back here, or Brenda, you come up some, or Valerie, you know, you need to, you know, soften your tones a little bit. And it got to the point where it became a habit with us. In fact, we would just joke around. By the time we were 13, 14, we were so good at it that we would just joke around and be like, you know, let's you know, this is the way certain people sound on the radio, and we do. And then this is perfect harmony that you can't, that's so tight. And then we all knew what we needed to do in a song to make that exquisite, beautiful harmony.
The 1960s were the Dantes. The 1970s, it's the Jones girls. When it comes to harmony, I'm giving you that because there was a lot of female singers, and they did, you know, 3 Degrees, and you can go on and on, High Energy.
Right. Yeah.
But there's something about where you can almost tell your sound in certain records, and you can tell the Dante's sound in certain records, you know.
Yeah, and that's why so many artists that heard our sound wanted our sound on their records, and that's why we became such popular background singers long before you know, we worked with Diana Ross because of that sound. And I give all credit, first of all, to God for blessing us with the talent, with the voices, and then to my mom for training our voices and teaching us how to harmonize, how to blend together. And then that's another reason why my mother had us all learn piano, because she knew piano. We all studied piano for 10 years, and then Valerie happened to have perfect pitch. So it wasn't bad having a sister in the group that had perfect pitch, because she was more demanding. Once the Jones girls became, like once we were with Philly International, we spent more nights till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning on songs like Nights Over Egypt and Dance Turn to Romance, making sure those harmonies were tight because of Valerie and her ear. And we'd be like, I mean, even the producers would say, oh, it's perfect, that's fine, you guys can go home. And Barbie, no, Shirley's a little sharp, or Brenda's a little flat. And we'd spend another 2 hours satisfying her and her ear. So that
Ooh, see, that would make me mad, because I'm like, dang, when we going home?
Exactly. Oh, we did. We got on her a lot, but hey, the success of it, you can't beat. And it's because of her that a lot of those harmonies and sounds are just so on point.
Those early hits you all had, like before you all went to the Philadelphia sound. Tell me about it. If You Don't Love Me No More. Now that song, I'm like, oh my God, this was like, what? I don't know if I was born yet. Maybe I was born. Was that 73, 74?
Yeah, that was If You Don't Love Me No More. That wasn't that. I think we were with Music Merchant then, or were we with Kurt Tom with that song? I remember the song.
Curtis Mayfield record label?
Yes.
That was Curtis Mayfield. Is that the one? If You Don't Love Me No More?
I'm not sure what label, but that Kurt Tom was Curtis's label.
Yeah, Kurt Tom. If You Don't Love Me. Yeah, I think we were with Kurt Tom then, with Curtis's label. Yeah.
Wow, it's another legend.
Oh my God, absolutely. And I used to love him when we would be in the studio, because couldn't have been no more than we were Curtis. I was probably maybe 16, 17. And that's when a lot of his the impressions were hot, and we used to love him speaking, because he was in on all of our sessions. And after we would do one, back in the day, there was no such thing as flying. You couldn't just sing a piece and then you don't have to do it anymore. I mean, I tell these young people all the time, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. All I gotta do is sing this one note, y'all gonna fly it through the rest of the song. There was none of that back in the day. I think that's one of the reasons why people from my generation are such great performers, because we had to do that stuff 3, 4, 5 times and stack it, and then you had to sound exactly the same way. Or you were going to be doing it over and over and over again. And Curtis's favorite word after we would do one thing would be, all right, ladies, let's malt it. And we would be like, okay, Curtis, we're going to malt it. So that means, put another layer on it. Yeah.
Well, you kind of sound like them too when you say it.
Yeah.
He had that little real soft tone voice.
Valerie was the one that could imitate him. She would, when we would go back to the hotel, she'd be like, okay, ladies, let's malt it. And we love that about Curtis.
Man. So you all some backup with Lou Rawls, Teddy P.
Oh yeah.
Aretha Franklin. And Wiz, you're gonna have to help me with that.
Popular Moose.
There you go.
The Popular Moose, Linda Clifford, Norman Connors, Cher, Helen Reddy.
Really? Helen Reddy?
Helen Reddy. Oh yeah, her big album. We did that entire album. Yes.
Wow. My dad, Dr. Jockenstein, the late Dr. Jockenstein, when you all sung back up with that word, that group name again, Wiz?
The Poplar
Le
Moose.
Pamplemousse.
There you go. I don't want to butcher the name. He would broadcast live at a place called Coleman's Plaza. Monkey See, Monkey Do was a hot song
And
at that,
Spank.
and Spank.
Yeah, okay. Let's thank, yeah.
And they will play the long version of the song. So that song was hot because they were always broadcast live from the station. So we would hear this on the AM stations. We were kids and we would be home like spanking and all that. And oh my God, those songs got so much airplay from him.
Okay.
So
was that in St. Louis
St.
area?
Louis. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coleman's Plaza? No, that was in East St. Louis.
Both.
Well, both.
Okay.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
on both sides. Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because to this day, I still play it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mix it with Barry White. I mix it with
Yeah.
some everything because she was a baby pretty much. But I was, when Spank came out, I think I was like 17.
Okay.
So we played it at house parties
Mm-hmm.
because it was played, it was just that popular. I mean, we had to dance to it and everything, the Spank.
That was
Yeah.
my favorite
To
as a
this
kid.
To this day, I'm telling you, you come to St. Louis and you sing Spank and watch the people go crazy.
Wow. Wow.
It was y'all voices
Right.
on top of that funky beat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we thank y'all. Rest in peace to Valerie and Brenda. But we
And
thank
Brenda,
y'all. We thank y'all because it's still a hot commodity. It really is.
So many songs that we did background on, like Runaway Love.
Runaway Love. I was just getting ready to say that.
They play that so much
Yes,
everywhere.
that's an anthem.
That's
Yeah.
my mom's song.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a skate anthem. That's just,
Yeah. And that was, and this was before these songs, we were just, hey, just making money, people were caught, we were like, okay, yeah, Curtis, like, yeah, we want you, Linda Clifford, we want you on Linda's song. And, they play that song all the time. Now, Linda and I have done shows together overseas. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. And,
Okay.
because when we did her song, Runaway Love, I couldn't have been no more than 17, 18 years old when we were doing background, for people like Linda and the Pamplemousse and all of those people. So that's why I tell our audience all the time, we basically grew up with our audience because we were as young as most of the people in the audience because we started so young doing background, with Holland Dozier Holland for people like Frida Payne and Honeycomb and chairman of the board, because in Detroit, they discovered our talents early because we were very popular singing background for my mom on the gospel circuit and appearing on a lot of the Christian TV shows. And they became familiar with us. So we started doing background really early. People didn't know. We were 13, 14, 15 years old at the time.
But after, you made your hits with your sisters and you ended up going solo. How did they feel about that first when you decided to go solo? You can't leave us? Or did they say, go ahead, we got you?
No, we had broken up. Yeah, we had stopped performing together. And because we had been working so much, Brenda, wanted to get married. There were a lot of other things going on with the group, and we just decided to call it quits. Valerie wanted to try her hand at college because she was the only one that didn't have an opportunity because, pretty much right when she graduated from high school, we went out on the road with Diana and moved to LA and became busy, performing, still doing sessions, but our primary job was with Diana Ross for 3 years. And after we were with Gamble and Huff and had those 3 successful albums, we decided to take a break, and they were not happy at all. And you know, Kenny called, he happened to call me because he wanted to know, well, you know, while you guys are taking a break, you know, well, how would you feel about doing a solo project? And I was like, yeah, because I didn't want to take a break. I didn't know what to do after my sisters and I broke up. Brenda moved to Atlanta to get married. Valerie went back home to Detroit with my mom. So it just left me out in California trying to figure out, you know, and I tried my hand at the corporate world, you know, trying to just get a regular job. But, you know, singing is my life. So that didn't pan out too well. And when Gamble offered me the opportunity to do a solo album, I jumped at it. So they weren't happy, but they were happy of the success of the album. They both, you know, let me know, because that was a period during which we were not really communicating that much because of that and a lot of other things that actually caused us not to perform together. But once the album and the single went to #1 and the success of it, they were very happy for me because, you know, we're sisters. We were always sisters first, no matter what. We were sisters first.
And it went to #1.
Oh, yes, it did. Yes, it did.
No, that blew your mind. Wow.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was close to St. Louis. I was in Chicago when I got that call that it was #1 over Anita Baker's Sweet Love and Melba Moore and several other people.
Oh, wow.
It just shot right on up there over all of them. So that was a day to remember. I remember I was headed up to Ebony Jet offices to do an interview with them when the promoters were taking me up there, and they got the phone call, and I just remember dropping on my knees, and as soon as we got into the lobby and thanking God, thank you, Lord, you know, because that was actually the first #1 record, because all of our records were always tied up from getting to #1, like #3 or #2, because Michael Jackson or somebody else would hold, you know, they would be holding that #1 spot. So it was the first #1 for us, period.
But the crazy thing is you was battling #1 against your teammate from Detroit, Anita Baker.
Yes, yeah, my girl, we're friends. Yes, we're friends. And I think she was even surprised. You know, everybody was. You know, but hey, the Do You Get Enough Love had that message. You know, Sweet Love did too, but Do You Get Enough Love was asking that question that so many of us ask, that even now, 40 years later, people still ask, you know, hey, am I getting enough love in this situation? Or am I getting enough love from the people that I'm surrounded with, period? You know, and if not, then you may want to think about making some changes and surrounding yourself with some new people. That's what I say.
So we had a top 5 hit on here. You gonna make me love somebody else.
Oh yeah, the jam.
The jam, and still the jam today.
Yes.
Now I want you to tell all the people, because you all had another hit on here, and a lot of people didn't know you guys made it, but I knew you made it. Who can I run to?
Yep. In fact, that particular album, when all of the producers and writers did not want Kenny Gamble to put Who Can I Run To on the B-side, because everybody thought it would be a strong single, like a second single for You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else, after You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else. But back in the day, you had to pick A and a B-side, because there were A-sides and B-sides. And he felt that, okay, let me put it on the B-side, and radio will probably pick it up, which they did, which didn't really, they did pick it up, but it kind of got lost. I think if it had been a single, it would, more people would know that we did it first. But when Escape came out in 1995 and did it, you know, they always gave us accolades, you know, a shout out to us for doing it. And even on their Unsung, they gave us the credit. So, and then back in 1995, it brought a lot of attention back to us because the DJs back then would play their version and say to y'all youngsters out there, y'all think y'all that this is an original. Well, it's not. Let me tell you who did this first. So that brought up a lot of attention. And in a way, it was a good decision to put Who Can I Run To on there because, you know, You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else was followed by I'm at Your Mercy. So, which became a top 10 hit for us too. And that soul song, I mean, that one there, that's one of my favorites. Who Can I Run To is my favorite. But, oh yeah, and I'm at Your Mercy. That's a killer tune. Yeah. So it all worked out, but with a lot of the writers and producers were so upset with Kenny for putting Who Can I Run To on the B-side rather than have it come out and with a life of its own as a side single.
So what made you do the project with Gene Corn and Sherelle? How did y'all sisters get together?
Actually, that was back in 2005 or 7. Okay. Yeah, it was 2007, right after my mom passed. I decided to get back in the business because prior to that, I had kind of just got out of it. I was married and had my son Cam, which you guys know, and I wanted to just raise him. And but when my mom passed, I sang at her funeral, and I realized it was almost like my mom was saying, "You need to continue singing." Val had already passed. And Brenda and I, you know, we were trying to do some things together, but I put out some calls and, you know, that to letting people know that, hey, I'm interested in getting back out there. And Jean Carn, who's a dear friend, she said, hey, I'm doing this show and this producer loves you guys, and I'm sure he would put you on the show. Let me introduce you to him. And she's the one that actually got me my first performance coming back out. So that's when we did that show. It was in Chicago. And it was Jean and myself and Sherelle, and actually Angela Winbush too, but she wasn't in the video, but she was also on that show. So that's how that came about. Yes.
I know you're not a DJ, but you love vinyl, don't you?
Absolutely love vinyl. In fact, my latest single is on vinyl. It was released in vinyl in Europe first, and we're working on a deal here, you know, for it to be released on vinyl called I Won't Tell, which is a remake of Who Can I Run To? All right. Yeah, I love that song. I did that, went back to Detroit and got some Detroit musicians, you know, because I only use live musicians in my productions. And I went back to Detroit and got my boys and we did that. So we're actually working on re-releasing that song here in the States because it did very well over in Europe. We released it in Europe about a year or so ago, right before the pandemic. In fact, the room I'm sitting in is strictly, I only have a record player in here. And this is my reading and relaxation room where I don't have no CDs or not, just vinyl. I play all my old Sarah Vaughan, all my old LPs that I was able to get out my house before I left my husband. So, you know, because but he still has a bunch of them. But in this room, I play a lot of my while I'm relaxing and reading. I only play vinyl in this room. Vinyl only.
Wow, it's dope. Okay.
Shirley, we got to get you to come to St. Louis.
I want to. Hey, talk to some of those promoters. Well, my band's ready. I'm ready. The pandemic is supposedly over enough. My first, I didn't jump out there like a lot of them with the outdoor because I was still, even though I'm vaccinated, I was still not comfortable. My first live date with my band is actually December 12th in Los Angeles at the Globe Theater.
With
and
radio?
With radio, yes. And then I think we're doing Yoshi's up in Oakland while I'm back there. And then we're doing, then next year, Gene Carn and I are booked in Greece, London, together. And I have a couple of dates with Melba Moore here in the States, and a bunch of dates are starting to come in now for 2022. So I'm ready to get back out there again. But I didn't jump out there like a lot of them. A lot of people, and quite a few of them caught COVID too from jumping out there too quick, you know. So I wasn't. I'm like, I'm not. Even though they're outdoors, it was still too much COVID flying around for me.
Do you feel that in the U.S. we treat music disposable, as meaning that once it hits a certain timeline, you know, it fades off and then it comes back later in life, as opposed to overseas, when they get it, they hold on to it for longevity?
They do, and absolutely.
That is crazy.
Absolutely, and they learn. They know so much about soul music over there.
That's crazy.
And they adore it. They love it. I love going over there. I love performing for them, because here, once hip hop and rap came in, soul music, R&B music has been, and it's still true. The one good thing that has happened for soul music, and I tell everybody this, was the pandemic. You know, we were all in our houses, and Club Quarantine came about, and DJ D Nice is just, I mean, he just was playing Nights Over Egypt, You Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else, Who Can I Run To, all the time. And I would log in and people be like, hey, Queen and Legend. Now all of a sudden, I've met more people that I probably never would have met, like Fat Joe uses Nights Over Egypt as his intro song for his radio show. Dion Cole, the comedian, he does too. And all of these people, Anderson .Paak recently said that Nights Over Egypt is one of his favorite songs. So they have all hit me up, and it's just this resurgence of music now for not only the Jones Girls, but for everybody from that, you know, early, late 70s, early 80s era. So that's been the beauty. The pandemic has really made people listen, because when you listen to that music with those live instruments from, say, the 70s, 80s, compared to the 90s and 2000s, when all of the synthesized music came about, that's not what people wanted to hear while they were locked up in their houses. They wanted to hear the lush strings and horns and heavy rhythm sections and thumping bass and drums and real stuff, not synthesized stuff. So I think that that's why this resurgence of soul music is coming about, and it's only booming, because I know my phone be ringing off the hook, booking dates for, you know, next year and further on. You know, people just want to see us, and they know that, you know, they know we're older now, and they just want to see us before we leave. You know, because it's exciting. It's really exciting for me and all of my friends from that era.
Me and Lady Jock have been, for several months, been trying to get to artists like yourself, and we thank you so much for this interview. We want to tell, we're not looking for the hardships or the drama of legendary artists. We want you to expose happy stories or happenings that we had no clue about. We wasn't in the studio with you. We wasn't on tour with you. So we just want to just capture pieces of your lives, your musical lives, to share with the people. And so that is why we do these interviews. But a lot of artists just feel like some people are not important unless they have a big name. You should look at as everything matters. Everything counts.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why over the pandemic, this is probably my 200th Zoom interview because, my son basically handles, my interviews. But like I told him, I said, I will interview with everybody. I said, because a lot of the DJs that are requesting interviews either have relatives that were DJs back in the day, or still play our music now. And it's so many people out there because of the internet and social media, the internet stations. And so, and everybody has fans, a fan base. And my whole purpose of being out here, of still performing, of still recording music is solely to keep the legacy and the sounds of the Jones Girls alive, because I feel like that is my duty to both my sisters who are not here, to make people remember the hard work and the love that we put into our music, hoping that it would become timeless classics. And the fans and the DJs and all of you all are responsible for that. And it's nothing but love. And I'm going to just keep people out there remembering the name of the Jones Girls and the harmonies and the beautiful classic music that we put so much work and love into to bring out there and keep it out there. That's what I want to do. It's already transcended a couple of generations, and it looks like it's going to just go on forever. And that's great. Even once I'm gone, that music could be out there. And that was the goal for me and my sisters.
That's why your mother wanted you to get back out there.
Yes,
See,
exactly.
See there?
Yep.
See,
Yep.
that was a reason.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when I was singing at her funeral, it was almost like, it was like I heard her voice. You've got to continue. You've got to go on, which it was very difficult for me to sing at my mother's funeral, but I knew that was something she wanted me to do. So
I'm gonna let Lady Jock say something, because right now I'm feeling like this is me and Mrs. Jones going.
Oh, I'm
and
good. I'm feeling the flow. I'm good. I'm good.
As Billy Paul would say.
Oh yeah, my friend. So many
Let
are.
me.
Yeah, so many are leaving, and I think that's why so many people are flocking now to these shows now that they're back open.
Yes.
So many have left that people didn't get a chance to see. So many are sick to the point where they can't come back out there. And I thank God every day that, and I say, Lord, please please keep me in great health so that I can continue to get out there and perform, because seeing the smiles on people's faces, my sisters and I, our favorite part. We loved recording in the studio, but we loved performing. And we used to just laugh and in our dressing rooms, both before and after the show, just because we'd peek out, we'd be on the side of the stage peeking out, looking at the full houses, and we'd be like, man, look at those people. They sharp. They done got all dressed up to come see us. We get ready to get our asses out there and give them a show. That was our joy. And that's my joy now. I'm like, these people have paid all this damn money and, for parking and the tickets and, so we can't get up there half-stepping, even if we have problems or issues and different times. Sometimes we didn't feel like it, but we'd be like, no, we got to put our stuff aside, because these people have come for us to take them out of their different situations and they done paid this money and got all dressed up. So it's our job to get out there and make them feel better, put smiles on their faces. That's all we ever wanted to do. And that's what I do now. I seeing the smiles on people's faces in the audience. So, when I sing songs like Dance Turn to Romance, or I Just Love the Man. And they always tell me, oh my God, you took me back to a time when, we were so happy and partying all the time. And that is what makes me happy. seeing people, the audiences happy. And I'm using my platform and my voice as often as I can to sing songs to encourage people. In fact, on Do You Get Enough Love, I ask people now, do you give love? Are you sharing your blessings with somebody else? That's what I talk about towards the end of Do You Get Enough Love now, because we've got to give more love. And express more love to people that are different from us, that may not be the same nationality, the same color, the same religion, but we're still all one as far as I'm concerned. No, but it's been a pleasure talking with both of you all. And hey,
well.
Yeah, and I got some breaking news that we hopefully next week, once these contracts are signed,
let me guess.
I can talk about.
Let me guess.
Let me guess.
Drum roll. Movie? Is a movie biopic, or is it a new album coming out?
Drum roll. Commercial.
How about both?
Okay.
So yeah, and so I will be able to talk about it. Hopefully, the lawyers got the contracts now, and we're just waiting to be able to sign them, and then I'll gladly come back on and share the breaking news on your show. So
okay.
All right.
There, I won't say nothing else.
We gonna say that we gonna hit it like that.
All right.
We like surprises.
Oh yeah.
We just got to get you here to St. Louis.
For real.
Oh yes. Hey, well, I'm available. All they have to do is contact me. My camera, most people contact my son. Hey, me and my band, my singers, hey, we're ready. We'll come to St. Louis anytime.
Miss Shirley, you want to give out your social media?
Social media.
Yeah, my social media is Shirley Jones of the Jones Girls on both Instagram and Facebook. And then my website, which promoters and people can always hit me up, is ShirleyJonesGirl.com. No S on the end, so ShirleyJonesGirl.com. And they can even request for bookings through the website.
There you have it, people.
Yes. So hit me up in St. Louis, here I come.
Start saving my money. I might get two of y'all here.
He said, well, I might can help him, but I might get third person.
What, a guitar?
With a good
right.
At least a drumstick or something. I don't know.
No, my price is not as high as a lot of people think. Not at all.
No, I don't think prices are high. I think probably you work whatever you ask for. That's the way I look at it,
Yeah.
But one thing you will know, when Shirley Jones is gonna do a show, you getting a show.
You got your money's worth.
You're gonna leave there smiling and happy and enlightened and uplifted. Trust me on that one.
Oh, real quick, if you don't mind, have you ever been to Egypt?
I have not, but I'm going to Greece in June, and I'm there for a week. And Egypt is right next door, so we plan to go because a pastor friend of mine that graduated with me in Detroit, he's one of these, he has one of those mega churches, and whenever I go home, I go to his church, and he told me that he takes his new members to Egypt every year, and they go down the Nile. He said, and on this particular boat, one of the songs they play is Nights Over Egypt. And he said, it is the most ethereal experience. And he said, Shirley, you have got to do it. So he told me that whenever, I'm ready. And I told him, I'm going to be in Greece in June. So I'm going to take a plane and go to Egypt, and I'm going to take that trip down the Nile and listen to Nights Over Egypt at the same time. They said it's one of the most beautiful experiences you can have. So
Wow.
I'm looking forward to that next year.
I think you should go to Egypt and perform the song.
Ah,
I think that would be even better.
would that be? Hey,
Yeah, everybody know the song there.
exactly.
She sold the desert out. Can you
Yeah.
believe that?
Yeah.
How many
That would
seats?
be-
I don't know. It was the desert.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yes, it would.
How the camels dancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, Miss Jones. We
Thank you.
appreciate it so much.
Well, thank
Really
you
do.
all. God bless you both. And hey, just hit me up and we'll do this again.
Thank you.
You guys take care. Love you both.
Love
Thank
you. Thank
Love
you.
Bye-bye.